Summer in Central Texas isn't just hot. It's one of the most dangerous weather threats we face every year. Extreme heat can impact anyone, whether you're working outside, exercising, attending summer events, or simply running errands. That's why our 6 News weather team is taking a closer look at how heat affects your body, who is most at risk, and the simple steps that could save a life. Welcome to our Summer Heat Safety Special.
When temperatures climb into the triple digits, heat-related illnesses can develop faster than many people realize. Heat exhaustion and heat strokes are serious medical emergencies. We'll show you the warning signs to watch for and what to do if someone begins experiencing symptoms.
And it's not just the air temperature you need to pay attention to. Humidity can make it feel hotter outside, increasing the stress on your body. We'll explain the heat index, why it matters, and how you can plan outdoor activities safely during the hottest part of the day.
We'll also hear from local emergency managers, medical experts, and community leaders about how Central Texans can stay safe from summer heat all along. From protecting children and older adults to keeping pets safe, we've got the information that you need to beat the heat. How concerned are you about the upcoming heat across Temple and Bell County?
So my concern is actually that we have not had heat yet, and I think one day it's just going to appear and we're not ready for it. So typically with our summers we have what I like to call the preheat season. We are warming up and we're getting used to and acclimated to the heat, whereas a couple years ago it was like we woke up one day and it was hot and nobody was ready for it. So that's my concern this year is it's been pretty comfortable, all things considering. We've had a lot of rain, which keeps the temperatures down. It's going to get hot, and I don't know that we're going to be as prepared for it as we typically are in our normal summers.
When it comes, like you said, that dangerous heat, what are some of those values what air temperature, what heat index values allows you guys, your department, to become a little bit more concerned at? What threshold is that?
So we really start watching even in the 90s. 90-degree temps are still no joke. We joke that, it's not a big deal. It's Texas. We hit 100 and it's just a Tuesday. But 90-degree temperatures can be very dangerous for your elderly, for your kiddos, your pets. And so we want to make sure we're taking care of those that may be more prone to heat illnesses in those temperatures.
And you speak of those who are more prone to heat illnesses and things of that sort. I guess who would be more vulnerable? Like you said, I know the elderly, I know the children. Is it a vice versa thing? Is it kind of they're in a group together?
We really just kind of group all of them together. There's not any group that's more susceptible than others. But even pregnant women with body changes going on, growing a human, you can be more susceptible to the heat. So just if you have any medical conditions, if you're elderly, your kiddos, your pets, we want to make sure that we're keeping them out of the heat as much as possible or taking precautions if we're going to be in the heat.
And like you said, taking those precautions, I guess, how quickly can things turn from maybe a heat exhaustion to a heat stroke? I guess, do you guys have a certain time frame that you guys like to make sure that you're assessing that need with the particular client or patient?
So there's not really a set time frame. It's different for everybody, but it can escalate very quickly. Pay attention to your body. If you're not feeling very good, if you're getting nauseous, if you're getting a headache, take a break, get out of the sun, try to cool down. If you can get indoors, that's great. If not, get in the shade. Just try to lower your body temperature to manage that. It's typically when we go, hey, I'm almost done with this project a little bit more, or, kids, I'm playing a little bit longer, and then we push ourselves a little bit beyond what our bodies can handle.
And speaking of body, like you said, a lot of times when you do talk about going outside, they talk about make sure you drink lots of water.
Yes.
What is a lot of water? Like, how much water do you guys suggest?
Whatever you think is a good amount, drink more. For anybody. We're sweating a lot, and so we are losing a lot of that fluid. So replacing it, but also thinking about electrolytes. Sometimes water by itself is not enough. We need to replace those electrolytes, get that salt back into our body.
And what resources, maybe cooling center, are there any, places that residents who they need relief, but they don't know where to turn? Where are those sources at for residents?
So we do have a link on staysafetemple.com for cooling center information, and we'll make sure that stays up to date all summer. I did actually this morning just move it up on the list for the website to make it easier to find. But Feed My Sheep has hours that they can go in during the day to cool off in our public library. Those locations are both open during normal business hours, available for anybody to come in to cool off and hang out for a little bit.
You know, a lot of those hot car conversations come up in the summer. So what are some of advice or, you know, just risks that people may not think about, you know, that maybe it is okay to leave a pet or someone in the car when it's cooler outside, but when it gets hot, you know, how quickly things can escalate?
So with leaving pets and kids in the vehicle, our encouragement is to never do that. Don't leave them for, I'm just going to run in for just a minute. You could get sidetracked and be longer. There could be delays outside of your control. Temperatures in vehicles can escalate quickly, as much as 20 degrees difference between outside of the car and inside the car. So if you think, oh, it's 80 degrees, it's not bad, it could be 100 degrees in the car. And so those individuals or animals that are susceptible to heat, they're going to be more impacted by that difference. Even cracking windows, even not being very long, that heat can escalate quickly inside the vehicle. So please don't ever leave pets or kids in the vehicle.
And when you said also, like, if residents lose heat, I mean, they lose that electricity during the heat, and maybe they can't go to the cooling center. I guess, does the city also provide transportation for those residents who may have a harder time? Maybe they are handicapped, they can't get out. Are there other resources like that as well on the site?
So if they'll call TTX Connect, we'll coordinate some resources for them with just a one-off, having an individual. We'll work on making arrangements for them to make sure they're taken care of. We do monitor if we're experiencing large outages. We may look at needing to open shelters and things like that to allow people when there's more of a bulk of the community that need the location versus specific individuals.
And in recent years, just comparing, because I know you've kind of been in the area for quite some time, would you say, quite obviously, people tend to take heed to the information you guys put out there? You see a lower number as far as overall heat-related illnesses, like basically that you're doing that good, that people are using those resources, they're taking precautions as you guys are putting out there?
We hope people are taking the precautions. The numbers fluctuate year to year. It's kind of hard to gauge, but we keep pushing the messaging. We have messaging coming out today about safety with your pets and vehicles, and we'll continue to post things like the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion versus heat stroke to continue to educate the public. Just listen to your body. If you are starting to feel bad, please stop. Take the time to cool down. I think we typically, especially for those of us who have been here a while, oh, it's not too bad. I can do 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. I'm almost done mowing the lawn, or the game is almost over, whatever it is, and we push ourselves too hard and too far.
And if there was one last piece of advice that you could leave the Temple residents about summer heat safety, what would that be?
Just keep an eye on yourself, but also your neighbors. If you have elderly neighbors, if you have neighbors with disabilities that they may not be able to get the help themselves, just check on them, see how they're doing, see if they need anything. Temple Fire has a fan program, so if there's issues with air conditioning in a home, we do have box fans that we can give out. But we want to know that if our residents are struggling and having a hard time and they're not safe, we want to know about it.
Hey guys, meteorologist Whitney Huddleston here to talk about, it is the summer season after all, heat and athlete safety, as well as how to keep our kiddos safe. Of course, in the heat, we've had heat index values 105 plus already, and it's only June right now. We obviously have several months upcoming that it could be very, very hot, so let's get into it. Are you like me and enjoy walking, jogging, or running in the outdoors? It is hard to find a safe time to do so this time of year. Doing so before, say, 10 a.m. or after 7 p.m., it'll help. But some sports teams and organized activities take place, of course, during the heat of the day. There can also be a large temperature difference between outdoor surfaces that we may be touching or maybe standing on that you should be aware of. In the United States, between 600 and 700 people die each and every year from heat-related illnesses, which is tragic because these deaths are entirely preventable. Extreme heat is defined as summertime temperatures that are much hotter and or humid than average. Because some places are hotter than others, this depends on what's considered average for a particular location at that time of year. Humid and muggy conditions can make it seem hotter than it really is, which we see oftentimes, yes, here in Central Texas, of course. It is important to know what to look for when you plan to be outdoors in the heat. Symptoms of heat exhaustion include a racing heart, excessive sweating, elevated temperature, dizziness, nausea, and dry mouth. It is important to note that the risk of heat-related illnesses is much higher for certain high-risk populations such as children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing heart-related conditions. Temperatures of outdoor surfaces, like this one right here, definitely a factor when it comes to heat in relation to athletics. The difference between concrete versus grass versus a turf football field or track can drastically vary according to the National Strength and Conditioning Association. An outdoor track, such as this one my kiddos were running on, these surfaces can reach temperatures as high as 147 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature of a track surface for walkers, joggers, or runners, it isn't a great factor if you're going just a short distance, but it is a big factor if you are running a longer distance. Consider running on grass or a light-colored rock path with shade. If possible, is grass temperature. It can get up to 104 degrees, 104, versus 150 degree asphalt. Also remember that if you are out jogging with your dog, of course their little paws could feel the heat. They could be burned by concrete or asphalt especially. Albedo, have you ever heard that word? Albedo is the fraction of radiation striking a surface that is reflected by that surface. Let me explain this further. So for example, a white-colored surface that has a high albedo will reflect 80% of incoming solar radiation. It'll trap 20%. Conversely, a black-colored surface will only reflect 10% of incoming solar radiation. How does albedo relate to athletics in the heat? Consider the difference I just stated and what you choose to wear when performing an outdoor workout. A loose-fitting white shirt, it's going to serve you a whole lot better than dark-colored clothing. Consider this when ordering jerseys for local sports teams, things of that nature. Dark-colored objects such as ground surfaces, buildings, etc., they're also a factor. The lighter, the better for reflecting heat. Lastly, what are a few ways to beat the heat if you do plan on exercising outdoors during the hot season? Time of day, yeah, it's a big factor. If you can avoid the afternoon hours when the sun is so high in the sky, that'll help. Wearing lightly colored clothing is a big one as well, like I earlier mentioned. Working out on grassy areas, there are certain areas that I jog on that it is light colored gravel versus the asphalt and the cement. It's a good idea. Perhaps the most important, though, is staying hydrated. The recommended amount of water to drink daily, you may not know this one. It can be easily remembered by dividing your weight in half. For example, a 150-pound person should drink around 75 ounces of water every single day, or 6 standard water bottles. Avoiding energy drinks that may increase your heart rate and cause other negative effects is a handy tip. Pacing your workout is also helpful, and of course, taking breaks. If you start to feel any of the symptoms we stated earlier that could indicate a heat-related illness, you'll want to take a break. And another tip is to keep your cell phone handy and on you in case you need to call someone for help. And lastly, let's hear from one of the experts to talk about heat in our kiddos this summer. Marcy Fleming is the head athletic trainer, also a physical therapist at Salado ISD.
Hi, my name is Marcy Baker, athletic trainer and physical therapist. Recently, the University Interscholastic League Legislative Council passed a policy that will require all UIL schools in the state of Texas to use wet bulb globe temperature as the new standard for measuring activity in the heat. This policy will go into effect on August 1st, 2026, pending the approval by the Commissioner of Education. The wet bulb globe temperature is a more accurate measurement that accounts for air temperature, humidity, wind speed, cloud cover, and solar radiation. It was developed in the 1950s by the U.S. military to prevent heat injuries and casualties during rigorous trainings. The American College of Sports Medicine has created recommendations for activity modifications in the heat. This includes work-rest ratio, hydration breaks, equipment worn, and the length of practices. School officials around the state will utilize the wet bulb globe temperature to monitor weather conditions and alter practices based on the ACSM recommendations. Using the wet bulb globe temperature is another step in protecting our kids and reducing the risk of heat-related injuries.
Everybody knows the summer in Texas is hot, but what most people don't realize is how fast the heat can turn dangerous. Inside your car, on the field, and even during a quick trip outside. So today we're putting common summer heat myths to the test, showing you what really happens inside a hot car and building the ultimate summer survival kit. Myth number 1, rolling the windows down cools your car instantly. Not exactly. It may help a little bit with ventilation, but your car can still heat up fast and still become dangerously hot. So no, cracked windows do not make a parked car safe. Myth number 2, you're only outside for 15 minutes. Here's the problem. If it's extremely hot and humid, your body can start overheating fast, especially if you're active or in direct sunlight or if you're not hydrated. 15 minutes doing nothing is very different from 15 minutes walking, practicing, or working outside. Myth number 3, athletes don't need breaks because they're used to the heat. False. Heat illness doesn't care if you're in shape. When your body can't cool itself efficiently, heat exhaustion and heat stroke can happen very quickly. That's why hydration, shade, and scheduled breaks matter, even for trained athletes. And myth number 4, if it's cloudy, it's safe. Also false. Clouds can block some sunshine, but they don't magically erase heat stress. If the air is hot and humid, your body still struggles to cool itself off, even without the blazing sunshine. But the most eye-opening part of all of this may be what happens inside your car, because the temperature can rise way faster than most people think. So we're gonna try out a little experiment. As you can see here, I have a thermometer and it's recording 93 degrees outside right now. That's just the outside temperature. We're gonna see how much warmer it gets inside of the car. We're gonna leave this here in the car for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna come back every 10 minutes to show you the difference in the temperature. So I'm gonna start my timer for 10 minutes, and we'll be back in 10 minutes to check how the temperature's doing. All right, so it's been just about 10 minutes already, so let's see what the thermometer is reading. So the thermometer's already picking up on 129 degrees in just 10 minutes. So we're gonna come back in 20, then we're gonna come back in 30 to see the final temperature reading. All right, so it's been 20 minutes. And it's picking up 137 degrees. Whew, that's hotter than Death Valley. All right, this is the moment of truth. We're gonna see how hot this car got within the past 30 minutes or so. The max temperature in about 30 minutes this car reached was 136 degrees. Now keep in mind, we started at 93 degrees and it maxed out at 136 degrees. So this is just a prime example why you would never want to leave elderly, young children, or even pets in dangerous heat conditions like this. So if you're out in this summer heat, what should actually be with you? Here's the summer kit I want in my backpack. I'd want water, a cooling towel, sunscreen, portable phone charger, hat or sunglasses, electrolyte packets, maybe an umbrella for shade if you want. And the reason you want these things, number 1, water. Water because it's not when you get thirsty, it's before you get thirsty. 2, a cooling towel is one of the quickest ways to bring relief when you're outside for long periods of time. Number 3, sunscreen, because sunburn can make it even harder for your body to regulate the heat. And number 4, a phone charger is important, especially if you're traveling outside in an event or end up stranded outside in the heat. And number 5, your emergency extras. Just for extra safety precautions, keep a few electrolyte packets nearby, just in case you're stuck outside for long periods of time. So the key takeaways are simple. Heat safety isn't just about being uncomfortable. It's about understanding how quickly conditions can turn dangerous. So whether you're on the field, in your car, or just running some errands, a little planning can make a big difference.
Hey Central Texas, as we're moving further and further into the summertime, it's getting hotter and hotter. It's bad for me, you best believe that it's bad for these guys.
From hot pavement to dangerous vehicle temperatures, there are several risks pet owners need to watch for during the summer months.
I spoke with a local rescue here in Waco about some of the biggest summer safety mistakes they see and what every pet owner needs to know.
Today I wanted to share with you some tips on how to keep your dog safe in the Texas summer heat. Dogs are not efficient at cooling themselves, and they actually need a lot of extra precautions. They don't sweat like us people do. They actually can only sweat through panting through their mouths. Here are some tips to protect your dogs during the Texas dog days of summer. First, walk your dog early in the mornings or late in the evening when the temperatures are lower. When walking your dog, pay attention to the pavement temperature. I like the 10-second rule, where if you can't comfortably hold your hand on the pavement for 10 seconds, then your dog should not be walking on that pavement with bare feet. There are various types of dog booties that are great for walking dogs and keeping their feet safe, or just avoid the pavement altogether and stay on grass or stay on a trail. 3, certain breeds and certain types of dogs are more susceptible to the heat-related issues that we experience here in Texas. All of the smush-faced dogs or flat-faced dogs like pugs, Boston Terriers, Shih Tzus, French Bulldogs, Boxers have more difficulty staying cool in the heat and need extra precautions. Also, larger breeds and obese dogs and elderly dogs are all at greater risk in high heat. Number 4, help your dog avoid outdoor exertion during the heat, because that will drastically exacerbate their heat-related symptoms. Carry with you plenty of water when you're out and give it to your dog regularly when they're in the heat. And as we all know, never ever leave your dog in a car. Even in milder temperatures such as the 70s or 80s, a car can quickly heat up internally to a dangerous temperature, putting a dog's life at serious risk. Here are signs that your dog is experiencing a heat stroke. If it suddenly starts acting different than normal, if it's heavily panting or having difficulty breathing, if you notice its heart rate has become very rapid and or it has excessive drooling, and then finally, if it starts limping for no reason or gets down and does not want to get up or is not able to get up, you may be experiencing a dog that's having a heat stroke. If you suspect that your dog is overheated, first of all, get it indoors if possible, as soon as possible, into air conditioning. And then take its temperature, and if that temperature is 103 or higher, you need to get that dog to an urgent care vet clinic as soon as possible, because that dog is in distress.
There are 5 things to remember this summer. Number 1, never leave children or pets in vehicles. Number 2, hydrate before you're thirsty. And number 3, dress for the heat, of course.
And number 4, limit strenuous activity during peak heat. And 5, know the signs of heat illness.
Heat may be a part of life in Texas, but heat-related tragedies don't have to be. On behalf of the entire KCEN 6 News weather team, thank you for joining us for this summer heat safety special. Stay informed, stay hydrated, and stay weather aware.